I see this pole, this telephone pole, just kind of come in closer towards me, and I see it. I'm like, ooh, I think I'm going to hit that. I start trying to swim away from it in the air. Like again, this time is slowed down, stopped, whatever. And I'm trying to swim in the air away from this, and I see it getting closer. And now I see it's like about to hit me. Like it looked like it was going to hit like around my rib cage or my stomach. Like, oh crap. Well, I never went to Europe. I never took a cruise. This is it, right? And hit the pole, blackout.
Welcome to Bed, Back, and Beyond, sharing positive stories of recovery from serious back or neck injury. Your host is CK, a fellow champion who draws on her own experience with herniated disc surgery. Join her as she talks with others who have overcome the physical and emotional trauma of a painful injury, and discover for yourself how you can find hope and encouragement in recovery.
Hi, Gallo. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Bed, Back, and Beyond. Before we dive into your accident history, how about you just introduce yourself?
Oh, hi. I am Gallo. I am a business owner now. For the past longish time, I've been a maintenance worker, electrician, tradesman. Before that, a bartender. So I've done a little bit of everything and can do anything for a house except tile and masonry. Other than that, I'm just here to have a good time and share my experience and let everybody know, hey, there are more than one parts to your hip.
Yes.
Found that out the hard way.
So is your business contracting?
Oh, no. Not a totally different path. I now own a live music venue. So I'm kind of back into bartending.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is stressful, exciting, and a money pit, but still fun.
Where is it located?
Here in Reno, Nevada. It's on 4th Street. So if you ever come to Reno, swing on by, let them know that you heard me on the podcast, and I'll get you in.
And what's the name of the
it's called
venue?
Sucias. Spanish for dirty girls or naughty girls, but it's a little nuanced, a little more nuance on that, but kind of like how in Latin songs, especially like Pitbull, he calls women descaradas, but it's more of like women being free and liberated when they go out and do, nightclub stuff and then going back to their normal selves, when the sun shines.
Wow. And I think part of your hobbies was or is motorcycle riding. Is that correct?
Yes, still is, even though I've had a lot of motorcycle accidents, collisions, not accidents, but a lot of collisions. Never at fault. I've been in a lot of vehicular collisions, never been found at fault because, someone just doing something stupid in front of me.
And that hasn't dissuaded you from riding motorcycles?
Not at all. Like, you're going to die. I mean, I could have a heart attack now, in my sleep, whatever.
Hopefully not. I won't know how to do that.
Well, no.
How to handle it.
Hopefully not. But anytime, anyone can die from anything. Life is short. I'm a widower as well. And so realizing how precious life is, you might as well just enjoy and do what you want to do. And yeah, sure, there's a little fear that something could happen. I mean, even if flying in planes, sometimes I'm like, ooh, that little turbulence is a little scarier than the landing. But still, there's not going to stop me from flying either. So just keep doing what you want to do and, figure out a way to push through it, at least for myself.
Yeah, you can't live scared.
Exactly.
I started this podcast because I had a herniated disc and had to have surgery. And after that surgery, you live in this reherniation fear. And even getting back to exercising was so difficult. So part of the purpose of starting the podcast was to help encourage people to move past that fear and get back to moving and living life again.
Yes, it is important. I mean, even now I can still make my lower spine grind on each other on certain movements whenever I do Pilates. So like, okay, I can't lift my leg that high. I need to like lower it or can't push as hard as I want. But yeah, there is a chance of re-injury for anything that you do.
So do you mind taking us back to the accident where you learned more about your hip anatomy?
Oh, yeah. So a little backstory. So I've always bought and sold motorcycles since I was 22, 23-ish. I've been riding since I was 12, borrowing friends' motorcycles or borrowing friends' dirt bikes. And one particular motorcycle I had, I'd gotten a bunch of work done on it. And when I traded it in for a new one, went on a ride with a buddy of mine. And he told me, hey, your back tire is bald. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And I just kind of filed it away. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, I just bought this bike and I did a bunch of work. I did a bunch of work on the previous bike, not the one I just bought. So in my mind, this tire is fine. So I'm riding with a bald tire for over a year. And one day I'm taking a turn. It's a long sweeping turn, one of those that say like 35 miles an hour. It's on a road. It's not a highway. It's not a freeway. It's just one like a back road going towards the airport in San Antonio. And tap on the brake lightly, not slamming on it, just kind of slowing myself down a little bit. And the rear tire locks up and it slides. And once it slides off of the concrete, concrete or cement, whatever the road is made out, asphalt, whatever, hit the dirt and it just came to a dead stop. It just like flopped over. But my momentum, because it was a curve, was still shooting forward. So the centrifugal force kind of just shot me outwards. And it was surreal for, it felt like 2 minutes in the air. Time just kind of stopped and slowed down. I'm looking and I see this chain link fence that's in front of me since we're by the airport. It's a super high fence, like 12 feet tall, plus barbed wire on top. And I'm floating in the air towards it. I see it. I'm thinking, man, is this going to be like Resident Evil? Am I going to get diced up with this momentum? Am I going fast enough? No, because I got bones. It won't do anything. I'll get some road rash. And I see him going towards it. Okay, at this height, yeah, I'll probably hit it with enough force to, get thrown underneath it, like be able to push underneath the fence and go through it. Okay, yeah, the posts are kind of far enough. I'm kind of in the middle, a little off. And then I see this pole, this telephone pole, just kind of come in closer towards me. And I see it. I'm like, ooh, I think I'm going to hit that. I start trying to swim away from it in the air. Like, again, this time is slowed down, stopped, whatever. And I'm trying to swim in the air away from this. And I see it getting closer. And now I see it's like about to hit me. Like it looked like it was going to hit like around my rib cage or my stomach. I'm like, oh, crap. Well, I never went to Europe. I never took a cruise. This is it, right? And hit the pole, blackout. Then I wake up. I don't know how long it had been, but long enough for a bunch of first responders to be around, fire truck, a couple of cops, an ambulance there. And I see this volunteer fireman in front of me, and he's like, "Sir, are you okay? Are you okay?" And the look on his face kind of told me that there was something wrong, but I couldn't tell how bad it was. And oh no, yeah, I'm good. And I try to get up. I push off the ground, and I couldn't feel my legs. Like it just felt like they weren't there. And for half a second, as fast as I could think this thought, it was gone. It was like, oh my God, I'm paralyzed. Oh shit, I'm going to die. Or, oh shit, I don't have any legs. And I just calm down, tell myself, hey, nothing to worry about. Let's figure this out. So I wiggle my toes. Okay, toes are fine. Bend my ankle. Okay, that works. Bend my knees. My left knee hurts, but not that bad. My right knee kind of felt like it had compression. So it was difficult to move, but it was slow or kind of bruised. Like when you bang your knee, it kind of hurts to move it at all. So kind of had that sensation. Try to lift my left leg. Okay, I can feel the muscles moving, but my leg isn't moving. Maybe it's pinned or something. That's why my left knee hurts. And my right leg, I try to make my thigh muscles move. Nothing. Don't feel the muscles. Don't feel the leg move. I just broke my femur. I'm good. No big deal. And the fireman just has this look of shock on his face, like he doesn't want to say anything, but the look of it kind of says, "No, you're not okay." I'm like, kind of worried. And right at that time, my girlfriend, or were we married at that time? Either fiance or girlfriend. I forget when we got married. No. We were already married. We married in 2015. So yeah, she was my wife for a year. She was calling me because I was supposed to pick her up from getting a car rental. And it turned out that, I couldn't go pick her up. So I answered the phone like, "Hey, babe, now everything's fine. Had a motorcycle accident. Don't worry. You're going to have to re-rent the car and come get me. And I'm over here, bunch of firemen at this intersection. No big deal. Don't worry. Calm down. It's fine. No big deal. It's just a flesh wound. No big deal." And so I hang up and I pass out. Then I wake up when they're switching me from the gurney in the hospital, or from is it the gurney? Whatever the EMTs carry you on. And they're switching me over to the bed. And that pain in my hip just woke me up. And yeah, so then that's when they started doing x-rays and testing and making sure you're not having any internal bleeding, all this other stuff. And I saw the x-ray and it basically, I pulled my ilium from each other and pulled apart. So all the cartilage from your ilium and your sacrum just was apart. And my hips were just kind of dangling. And my right ilium was kind of tucked in my rib cage. So I had to drill through my femur, put me in traction to be able to pull the leg out from being tucked under the rib cage. So that was a fun experience.
At what point did you ask, "How's my bike?"
Once I was in the hospital, like once, because another thing is I had to urinate and I couldn't Like I was willing to just pee
Ah.
all over myself. I had no problem with peeing on myself. Like, hey, at this point, I'm in the hospital. They see all kinds of stuff, blood, guts, whatever. Peeing on myself isn't a big deal. But I couldn't. I didn't have control of my bladder. But I could feel it was full. So once they got the catheter into me and I filled that bag up instantaneously, they had to put another bag on.
Huh.
After that, then I was able to like, okay, where's my bike? Did it get towed? Is it, no, it's still there. We got a
Mhm.
friend. They picked it up. They loaded it on a truck. We just got to find a place to be able to unload it. I don't know how they loaded it because they didn't have a ramp. So somehow 5 or 6 people put it on the back of somebody's truck, and then they were trying to find a place where they could unload onto a dock and then ride it off. So yeah, it was probably 5, 6 hours later once I was like kind of coherent enough to ask,
Mhm.
"Hey, where's my bike?"
Yeah.
And oddly enough, all it has was just a little scuff and dirt on the right handlebar and bent the right lever, which is the brake,
Mhm.
front brake. And so yeah, it was kind of weird that it just had minimal damage, just kind of a little scuffing, not even a scratch, just dirt kind of like wedged into the handle.
And how long were you got to the hospital, did they put you into emergency surgery right away, or were you
No,
there for a while?
that was in observation. They were making sure that I didn't have any internal bleeding, anything going on. They scheduled me. It was Friday, probably, sorry, Saturday morning, 3 or 4, when they finally said, okay, we're going to schedule for surgery. And it was first thing Monday at like 6 a.m. So 48 hours ish, 40, 50-ish hours before I had my surgery. And it was weird because I was fine. It didn't hurt so long as I didn't move or no one bumped the bed, which in a hospital doesn't happen. So every few hours I'd get bumped or jostled and it'd kind of like just shock me awake. I was always annoyed with the nurses because they'd always come in and check on you every 4 hours or 6 hours, every shift. And they wouldn't give me pain medication. They'd start off slow with like ibuprofen, then 800, and then Tylenol 3, and then something else. And the only thing that would take the pain away enough for me to fall asleep was Dilaudid. And so that, I'd take it, I'd be out within a few seconds. But because of the scheduling for the pain medication, I would get about an hour's sleep before they come check on me again. I say, hey, look, can you check on me at the end of the shift, or can you give me the Dilaudid when you check on me? So that way I can get at least 4 hours of sleep, because that was the only sleep I was getting that time. And they're like, oh, no, we can't do that. Look, you can see my chart. You give me all this pain medication. The only time I fall asleep is Dilaudid at between midnight and 2. I don't know the time. I know it was like late at night, the evening shift. And then they come wake me up at 4 because they had whatever going on. It's like, I'm willing to wait till 4 a.m. to get that shot. Just please let me get some sleep. And it took like another day. It was after the surgery, and then they kind of started doing that. But yeah, that was frustrating to say the least.
Yeah, I had to spend 3 nights in the hospital after my disc surgery, and there was barely any sleeping the number of times they come through the night just
Mm-hmm.
to check on you. How long did you stay in the hospital?
The hospital surgery was Monday. Then they sent me to a physical therapy um,
Rehab?
rehab thing where I was still kind of like an inpatient. And I
Yeah.
think it was Tuesday or Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning when they sent me over. And by Friday, I was discharged. I
Oh,
was rolling
okay.
around in a wheelchair. And fortunately, I was working for Amazon at the time, had short term disability. So that kind of covered me and covered a lot of
Mhm.
expenses while I was out. Was given a at first, before the surgery, I think it was like a 3 or 6% chance of walking again. After the surgery, it was under 25, like 10 to 20, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, okay, my primary concern was like, okay, can I have sex? That was like,
Mhm.
that's all I cared about. I don't care if I can't walk, but can I
Yeah.
have sex? And they're like, if it works, we don't know. That's kind of, we can't check that. Like, all
Yeah.
right, I'll
That
do
comes
it.
up a lot in the microdiscectomy, the herniated disc forums, like, "When can I have sex again?" Like, "You herniated a disc.
Yeah,
Give
you
it
you don't
let
yeah,
it heal."
that for sure you don't wanna mess with, but I mean, hey, I'll
Yeah.
just lay there and you do all the
Yeah.
work. Just kinda turn to the side, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, after that, was going to physical therapy, doing it well. Was in a wheelchair, using crutches and walking. It was about 6, 7 months I was supposed to be able to walk once they saw that my progress. They
Mhm.
said, "Yeah, you'll be walking in 6 months," but I was up and about by 4 months.
Okay.
But the downside to all of it is that I was in a constant level 8 pain, like
Ugh.
24/7.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 9 until I had a kidney stone. Like, nope, nope, kidney stone's a lot worse.
Yeah.
This is an 8. So I readjusted my pain threshold. But from
Perspective.
2016, yeah, my perspective, from 2016 through 2021, it was 24/7 level 8 pain. Uh,
Wow. That
I
many
like,
years.
yeah. So you can see like under my eyes, they're still kind of dark. They used to be darker. Like the darkness under my eyes used to come like all the way around, circle the whole thing. Because I'd only sleep roughly about an hour to 1 to 5 hours per week. The pain would always keep me up. So when I would finally be able to fall asleep, uh, any movement, like if I turned in my sleep, it would wake me up. Or if I had to go pee in the middle of the night, which was a constant thing until recently I realized, oh, if I add some salt to my water, it'll give me proper hydration and I'm going to be able to hold it the whole night. And so what I would do sometimes is take, at least in Nevada, it's a THC legal state. I would get CBG and CBN to reduce the pain and help me fall asleep. But all CBD products usually have THC because you get them from the dispensary. So they have a little bit in there. And so that would help me kind of relax and then fall asleep and stay asleep a little bit longer. And in 2021, uh, during my podcast that I had years ago, it's already gone. Don't worry about it. Don't try to find it. It's deleted. But anyways, I had a hypnotherapist that came on and gave me a therapy session to take away the pain or turn it down. And within the 20-minute session, I went from a constant 8 to like a dull 1 or 2. It's still kind of constant, but it's not as bad as being living with an 8 all the time. A 1 is tolerable. And so right afterwards, I was able to squat, like do an Asian squat, ass to the ground, turn around while shake my hips while I was squatted, standing up, did a jumping jack. And it was like, I felt like 15 years old again, just being able to move, be all spry. And since then, I've been fine, been getting better night's sleep. Although now it's frustrating because now I'm sleeping 4 to 6 hours a night. And I got used to being up so long that I had more projects that I could do. So now I'm like, I could be doing something, but no, I got to
Ah,
sleep because I'm so tired.
yeah. So what exactly did you learn about the anatomy of your hip then? Because, a
Oh,
lot of us just think the leg is, like you said, the leg is stuck to the hip and that's about it.
yeah. I thought the hip was just one big bone that was right there. And, it was just one big fusion and your spine attaches it to it. Like at least like in, not anatomy, but skeletons you see at Halloween time for
Yeah.
decorations, the spine is attached to um,
Pelvic
yeah,
bone.
yeah, to the
Yeah.
pelvic bone. It's not like the spine. If you look at but then again, if you watch a Predator movie, you see the whole spine and the tailbone standing out there. So in reality, they should take the whole spine and take it off at the hip or take the hip out too. Like that way we have a better idea of what the hip bone is. But yeah,
Yeah.
I found out the hard way that it's kind of fused all together with some
Mhm.
cartilage and yeah, not fun to find out.
Do you know what they did in the surgery?
Oh
Uh,
yes. So they had to readjust and put everything back near its place. I have two bolts going through my
okay.
ilium into my sacrum, and then I have a small plate right over my pelvic bone, or pubic bone. And so I had a little C-section scar. So what I would do is purposely trim down there and then wear
Uh,
my bathing suits a little lower so you see it. And then I mess with people. Yeah, I'm trans. And they're like, wait a
uh,
minute, what? No, no, no. So, or I had a kid. Yeah, my kid, he's 22. And well, people know I have a kid. And so he's
mhm.
20, 25, 26, somewhere there. He's old. He's out of the house. I don't care. Um, but yeah, so he's an adult. And yeah, I had a kid and that's my C-section scar. And people look at me like, wait, what? No, 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 you're not. Really? Oh, I can kind of see it. Like, shut up. So,
Wow. So, but you have gotten back onto a bike since the
oh, yeah.
the surgery? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oddly, every motorcycle accident has kind of increased my protection level. So my first motorcycle accident was head on with an 18 wheeler, no helmet, no leathers, no nothing. I was doing about 30 miles an hour and he cut in front of me doing a left hand turn. And all I had from that was like a little scar over my eye, yeah, I still have a scar over one of my eyes and some road rash on my forearm. So each accident I've had or collision that I've had, yeah, I've gone from no helmet to a novelty helmet to a half helmet, 3/4, modular, which is flip up, full face, um, and wearing leathers. And then also now I go to like the Kevlar stuff because they last longer. You can insulate them, you can layer them better. Leather, if it gets wet, you're SOL. So
Mhm. So after the surgery and you moved to rehab, I think you said you were only in there for a couple of weeks in the rehab?
no, I was there 5 days. I got out the
5
following
days?
Friday. So my accident was one Friday. By the following Friday, I was out on a wheelchair and moving myself around.
Okay. And how much time did you spend in the wheelchair?
Ooh, I want to say maybe 2 months. And I was pushing it early with crutches
Okay.
because we live near kind of the bar district area in San Antonio or the St. Mary Strip.
Hmm.
And so I could crutch my way there, but then I would wear myself out and then I have to like take a break for about an hour before I started dancing. With my crutches, I'd have one crutch and kind of lean on it and dance with my wife.
Hmm.
And I kind of made a friend with one of the DJs that we still communicate with now from time to time. So anytime I go into town, I always go find out when one of his sets are at, and I go dance with him. And but yeah, it's about 3 months. I think I was back crutches, and then by 4 months, I was walking.
Wow. And are you to this day still doing specific exercises for your hip?
No, I just kind of do Pilates just in general to more for flexibility and being able to move. Now that I'm old, I'm Gen X, so everything
I
doesn't
can tell
move
by
as
the movie
easy.
references that you've made.
Yeah, it's not as easy to move around as much as I'd like. So, yeah.
Okay. How on earth did you think of finding a hypnotist to help you with the pain?
Well, actually, I didn't. So my podcast was a little bit of everything. It was specifically because I am a former recovering intercourse addict, and so having people in that kind of realm, sex counselors, licensed family therapists, porn stars, other addictions, and then just random people that we just wanted to know anything about life, a little bit of life advice, but also dating coaching and kind of all in that realm. And in that, I just have random people on from time to time because I go to podcast guest exchange. I'm like, I don't want to do a solo episode today. I need to find someone. And there's a hypnotherapist on there. They're like, hey, if anybody wants to, I'm this is my certifications, this is my background. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Why not? Give it a shot. Let's go. And I had him on a couple of times. There was a movie shortly after I had him on Netflix about a hypnotherapist that kind of like was trying to convince this woman to change her personality and become this guy's dead wife. And so he kind of came on to try to debunk that, like, hey, you cannot do that. You have to have a level of trust with a therapist. You're not their therapist can't make you do something that you're not already willing to do or willing to try. So they can't tell you, okay, you're going to kill someone if you hear Red Rum 77 or whatever. Like you have to want to do that, and that would be it has to be something that you would do while you're drunk. Like if you would do it while you're drunk or inebriated, then it's possible that a hypnotherapist could get you to do it. But if you're drunk, you're not going to go out and kill someone. You're either going to grope someone, get into a fight. The happy, sad, angry, drunk. One of those three, whatever is in your nature, whatever your ego, one of those subconscious. So whatever is you're most inclined to do, it's possible, but still you have to have that level of trust in the therapist.
And was it just one session and it worked, or did you have to meet
We
with them?
had two other sessions. I forgot what the sessions were. I have to look at the notes, but it was the third session was when we did the pain. I forgot what the other one two were. Ooh, and my memory's bad because of all the collisions. So really, anything prior to 2016 is really fuzzy. And unless I've journaled about it or have a post about it, I'm like, I didn't do that. That doesn't sound like me.
Wow. So, one of the things doctors talk about is the brain pain connection and how our brains will still think our body's in pain when technically it's not. And that's something a lot of herniated disc and surgery patients deal with
Mhm.
is thinking that they're still in pain when they're really not. And so it just affects quality of life.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can totally attest to that, especially with the hypnotherapist. Tell me, hey, just turn it down. Kind of calm, relaxing. This is where we are. We're in a for me specifically, kind of designed it that I'm in a control room. We're going to turn down the knob. We're going to turn that pain down from 9 to 1. And by the time we were done, like it was just, oh my god, it was amazing. I said I should have found this sooner, because a lot of hypnotherapists kind of have a bad rap, or they either do a shtick for like a show to get people to act silly on stage, or most of the service they do is either like smoking cessation or kind of working out or body image. But this guy, he actually works with body dysmorphia stuff, especially for people that are trans or can't afford to do the conversion therapy. This tells them, hey, you're okay with your body. Your body doesn't represent who you are, but you are still you. You are still a valid person. And I don't know everything he shares or does specifically with his patients, but he does work with, variety of things to help people have that connection between, like you say, with the pain body connection, with your mind and your body, because we assume, generally speaking, or at least for myself, I assume I am me, this, like what you see, that's who I am. When in reality, I am my brain. The way I say it, or I've seen it somewhere else, is like I'm a brain controlling a skeleton mech body with meat armor. And that is more accurate of a representation of we are as far as our mind and our ideas of ourself. But a lot of times we associate ourself, our identity, as who we appear outside. And we have a disconnect, and especially like with trans, they have a disconnect with who they are on the inside versus how they show on the outside.
Yeah. Did going through this accident and the hospital stay make you falter with your addiction at all, or
Oh, no, no,
um
no. So that my intercourse addiction, I had already recovered through it by 2012. So I realized I was one in 2011 and kind of fought like, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just sex. It's not a big deal. But it ruined a lot of relationships. I didn't treat women well. I objectified them, subjected them constantly. And to me, women were disposable. If you're listening to this, watch the video and you can see that I kind of present as like a typical bad boy. And a lot of women, roughly 4 out of 5, I'm that preference. Some women will admit to it, most women will not, and a few, yes, they have no problem admitting, yeah, that's what they like. But then again, there's other women that like clean cut. They have a preference for black or white or whatever ethnicity, whatever their preference is. So that's where it's would be harder for me to move in that area. And so for me, because so many women have that preference or type or fetish, what do you want to call it, it was easy for me to just pick up women. And of course, I'm not sleeping with great looking women all the time. Back then, it was just whatever I could get. I didn't care as long as it wasn't more than 24 hours. I'll go with anybody. Um, and so then I really learned to kind of value myself, not use sex as a coping mechanism to get rid of or deal with whatever I didn't want to face. Because as guys, we're not taught to deal with emotions. Like other than happy, angry, or sad, we don't know what we're feeling. We don't know how to express it. And if we do, we get in trouble because, it's usually some type of fight or confrontation. And so that helped me be better with who I am as a person. When my wife passed away, yeah, I kind of did slip and falter for a few weeks, but the accident itself, no, it wasn't an issue.
okay. And did you learn anything about yourself because of the accident?
Oh no, I didn't have any epiphanies or any learning moments other than the hip, like learning how the anatomy of the hip the hard
I
way.
learned the anatomy.
Yeah. Other than that, no, I think it was just
Mhm.
kind of a realization to take better care of my bike too, like pay attention,
Mhm.
not just the oil change. You got to check the other things too.
Yeah. And no, like, PTSD getting back on the bike?
Mm-mm, no,
No?
I'm like the really prototypical Gen X, like you know, just rub some dirt on it and keep going. Like that's it.
Yeah.
No.
I'm afraid I did not act too Gen X-y when I herniated my disc. I lived in, like, it really caused some PTSD after surgery, like, because
Mhm.
every little sharp pain that you feel when you're recovering, you think, "Did I just reherniate?" So, I was a blubbering mess.
Well, if you're still dealing with pain, give hypnotherapy a try.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh crap, I forgot his name, but it's Twin Ravens something, and he's out of LA now. He was in Alabama or Arkansas somewhere, but Twin Ravens therapy. He's based out of LA. He does Zoom calls. It works over
Mhm.
Zoom. It works fine,
Mhm.
and yeah, like he's helped me with a lot of things. Well, 3 things. I forgot the other 2. Maybe he told me not to remember it. I don't know. Uh,
That's possible.
was it? I think it was like working out, and then like
Mm.
goals, and
Yeah.
then the pain.
Yeah, it's great. I had a question and went right out
Oh,
of my
sorry.
brain. That's okay. What was I gonna ask you? Holy cow. Oh, I know. What's your bike preference? Do you have a particular style or
Yes.
brand?
Cruiser, it was Victory, but then they kind of went defunct and eventually became Indians. So if I get another bike, it might be an Indian next.
Okay, great. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to share with the listeners before we wrap up?
Yeah, if you're suffering through any type of pain, whatever PTSD you've got in the past, give hypnotherapy a try. I don't know, I can't vouch for anybody else, but I do know this Twin Ravens guy. He helped me out. He's been on several podcasts. He's on Podcast Guest Exchange every now and again. Not so much now that he's a little more busy, but tell him Gallo sent you, and maybe you'll get a discount. I don't know. I haven't used him in a while, but yeah, he's a great guy. He used to be a tattoo artist, and just don't be afraid to live your life, because living in fear is not living.
Yeah, absolutely. Gallo, thank you so much for agreeing to just do this podcast and share your injury story with us. If you are a listener and you have a positive story of recovery, head over to bedbackbeyond.com and click share your story. I would love to include your voice on the show. Once again, thank you so much.